Romance is a common trope in animation. Everyone can connect to the feeling of being in love, making romance highly relatable. Romance also allows characters to express their sensitivities, giving the audience proper insight into their favorite heroes. Pixar is not a studio typically associated with romance. Its films often focus on other themes. Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and Ratatouille are about individual identity. Inside Out, Coco, and Luna are about childhood. However, Pixar stories definitely contain romance, whether it's between futuristic robots or superpowered teenagers. Today, we're looking at Pixar romances from the sweetest to the most sinister. I'm Caleb from Wicked Binge, and this is Pixar Romantic Relationships, Healthy to Toxic. Today, we'll be starting with the healthiest relationship and working our way down to the most toxic. Healthy relationships involve couples that bring out the best in each other but still function individually. They also include couples willing to make sacrifices for their loved one's growth and well-being. The healthiest Pixar romance is Carl and Ellie from Up. Carl and Ellie are central to one of Pixar's greatest love stories. Up opens with Carl and Ellie meeting as children. The pair immediately hit it off. Carl's cautious and organized personality is enhanced by Ellie's wildness and spontaneity. Their meeting exemplifies this. After Ellie's instruction, Carl jumps on shaky roofing to try and catch a balloon. This shows that from the very beginning, Ellie encouraged Carl to get out of his comfort zone, enhancing him as a person. Carl also enhances Ellie, giving her stability within her wild life. Watching the pair age together and continue this dynamic is incredible. It also demonstrates how they build each other up. When Ellie is unable to have a child, Carl comforts her, reminding her that she doesn't need a child to be a beautiful person. He provides stability to her emotive personality. In turn, Ellie encourages Carl to take risks and see the world. Carl is quite introverted. He'd rather spend his day reading than exploring. But with Ellie, he has picnics up a hill, getting him out into the world, a trait Carl abandons after Ellie's passing. After Ellie's death, Carl grieves for years, further demonstrating the strength of their love. Carl refuses to move on from Ellie. He even fulfills her final wish by bringing their house to Paradise Falls. Not only was Carl and Ellie's relationship lifelong, but Carl continued it after Ellie no longer could. Additionally, the pair makes sacrifices for each other. Carl risks his life and confronts his former hero Charles Muntz to carry out Ellie's dream. Ellie's sacrifice for Carl is even more heartfelt. Ellie was willing to let Carl go. After her passing, Carl discovers a note from Ellie that she wanted him to learn to live without her, truly placing her partner's happiness above her own. Carl and Ellie's relationship is Pixar's healthiest because it's endearing and lifelong. Carl and Ellie bring out the best in each other and are willing to do the impossible for each other, making Up a true love story. In second place is Wally and Eve from Wally. Pixar has its fair share of human characters, so it's surprising that two robots are among the most romantic. But when you examine it more closely, Wally and Eve have a stronger connection than most other Pixar leads. Wally is one of two Pixar films that is classed as a romance, the other being Up. As a result, the film focuses on Wally and Eve's relationship. Wally and Eve are both wholesome and affectionate creatures. Wally is characterized by his kindness. He quickly makes friends, including a cricket and a robot he waves at aboard the Axiom. He's also very inquisitive. He collects treasures humanity has left behind and seeks to learn more about the world around him. Eve enhances Wally's personality. Wally has been isolated for many years because other Wally units have lost power. For the first time in many years, Wally has someone to share with. Eve. Wally and Eve share beautiful moments together and enjoy each other's company. She's the companion Wally has been looking for. She allows him to express his inquisitive nature by showing her his treasures. Wally also helps Eve develop. Eve is initially rigid but learns to love as Wally teaches her to open up. Seeing Wally's trophy room allows Eve to bond with Wally over his passion, but also shows Eve there's more to life than she had previously seen. Eve's directive is to capture the plant Wally has found and return it to the Axiom so it can be destroyed. She is on a search and destroy mission to prevent life on Earth from being revitalized. Wally teaches her that instead of being destructive, she can be sensitive and build herself a life. With Wally's help, Eve learns to love and embrace her sensitive side. He changes her way of thinking and she rebels against her directive protecting Earth's life. Wally and Eve are both wholesome and bring out the best in each other, making them among Pixar's healthiest romances. In third place is Luca and Julia from Luca. Luca and Julia are children sharing an innocent romance. They aren't challenged by adult pressures like some other characters on this list. This facilitates the development of a deep connection based on common interests. Similar to Wally, Luca is very curious. Luca wishes to learn as much as he can about the surface world. He even defies his parents' instructions to do so. He also changes Alberto's assertion that the stars are fish, demonstrating his allegiances to knowledge more than any individual person. Julia helps Luca pursue his goal of knowledge. She takes him stargazing, reads some classic literature, and answers his questions about the world. She even helps him achieve his dream of going to school. It is through this love of knowledge that Luca and Julia are able to connect. Julia helps Luca achieve his dream and Luca does the same. When introduced to Julia, her main goal is to win the Portorosso Cup, ending Ercol's reign of terror. Luca does this, both winning the race and confronting Ercol directly. As such, Luca and Julia both help each other advance their goals. They better each other and form a connection while doing so. The scene that depicts Luca and Julia's bond the best is when Julia discovers Luca is a sea monster. Rather than fleeing in terror, Julia is concerned for his safety. She doesn't demand answers or pose any questions at all. A girl who is passionate about knowledge is silent. A girl who is determined to win the Portorosso Cup is willing to give that up to ensure the safety of a loved one. This definitely demonstrates that Luca and Julia's romance is one of Pixar's healthiest. Not only do they connect over common ground, but they help each other reach their goals. Up next is Woody and Bo Peep. Woody and Bo are established as a couple in Toy Story. They have a natural chemistry from the start. They flirt and clearly have an interest in each other. However, their relationship isn't developed much. They barely interact in Toy Story and interact even less in Toy Story 2. Bo Peep doesn't appear at all in Toy Story 3 and their romance was presumed to be an abandoned storyline. But Toy Story 4 changed this completely. Woody and Bo Peep's relationship takes center stage in Toy Story 4, providing a strong romance while also building on the series' major themes. The film opens with Woody leading a rescue mission to save Bo after Andy's sister Molly has outgrown her. Bo inevitably parts ways with Woody. He grieves after losing Bo, which is briefly mentioned in Toy Story 3 but is focused on in Toy Story 4.
Bo Peep?
This is the first indication that Woody and Bo have a strong connection, that Woody is still attached to her years later. When reunited with Bo, Woody changes for the better. He has spent years questioning his identity. Not being Andy's favorite, being offered a museum role, and Andy growing up have all been internal challenges for Woody. Yet he stuck with Andy through all of it. Despite this, Woody is still troubled in Toy Story 4. He's not Bonnie's favorite, mirroring Toy Story, and Woody struggles to find purpose now that Andy has no need for him. Both Andy and Bonnie have left him behind. In his darkest moments, it's Bo that lifts him up. She helps Woody embrace what it means to be an ownerless toy, teaching him there's more to life than being loved by a child. By supporting Woody when he is the most lost, Bo forms a strong relationship. It also connects to the main thematic concern of the Toy Story series, personal identity. As a result, Toy Story 4 constructs a healthy romance while also addressing the major themes of the Toy Story series. Now for Buzz Lightyear and Jessie. The second Toy Story couple on this list has some similar issues to the first. The Toy Story quadrilogy doesn't spend much time developing romances. For Buzz and Jessie, we'll be looking below the surface. Buzz can be quite serious. He spends the first film believing he's a space ranger. Even after realizing he's a toy, Buzz is still serious. He is determined and strong, but can have trouble relating to the other toys, especially when Woody is such a charismatic leader. When Jessie is introduced in Toy Story 2, she is also rather serious. Emily's abandonment of her left her fearful and afraid to love again. But as the films go on, Jessie becomes very lively. Her spontaneity and sense of freedom helps Buzz become less serious. Like in the mid-credits scene of Toy Story 3 where they dance together. Jessie, despite her hardship, has learned to let loose and teaches Buzz to do the same. Buzz also grounds Jessie. He is willing to do the impossible for his friends, setting out to rescue Woody in Toy Story 2. Buzz's commitment to Jessie protects her from harm. He also emotionally helps her after her difficult experiences with Emily. Jessie is also quite stubborn and would do whatever she can for Buzz. Buzz and Jessie aren't the focus of the Toy Story series, but do have a healthy romance. Their relationship isn't lifelong like Carl and Ellie or integral to their journey like Luca and Julia, but they do bring out the best in each other and are willing to do whatever it takes. Now for Pixar's superhero drama, The Incredibles. Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl have a tumultuous relationship. Their beliefs are opposing for most of The Incredibles, but their relationship is still strong. When forced to live an ordinary life, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl respond very differently. Mr. Incredible longs for the glory days and is willing to take them back if necessary. He sneaks out to fight crime, lies to his family, and takes Mirage's offer for a secret mission even when it endangers him. Elastigirl is the opposite. She has decided to be a mother first and a super second. Elastigirl's main priority is her family, and she's willing to sacrifice the glory days for her loved ones. The pair's different ideals are the focal point of The Incredibles. Then, as the story progresses, the two reconcile and accept each other's perspective. Elastigirl goes to save Mr. Incredible despite her differing ideology. She endangers herself to save her husband even when it's his own fault he's in danger. This dedication to their relationship establishes that it is healthy. Mr. Incredible also learns the value of family. That is the trigger for Mr. Incredible to put the glory days behind him to protect what he has. He learns to put his family above his hero work as Elastigirl has done for years. This establishes the health of Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's romance. Their ideologies can change based on each other's actions. In Incredibles 2, this is taken further. Elastigirl is offered a position in the spotlight as supers reemerge. Now the roles are reversed. Elastigirl is the hero and Mr. Incredible is the caregiver. Rather than rebelling against normality like he does in the first film, Mr. Incredible supports his family.
I've got to succeed so she can succeed.
He has grown as a character since the first film. That growth and love for their family is what makes Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's romance so healthy. Next is our first animal couple, Marlin and Coral. In Finding Nemo, the two are only together for one scene, but from this scene, we can see what their relationship is like. Marlin and Coral have very different personalities. Marlin is anxious and fearful. He is afraid to let Nemo go to school and is afraid of Nigel the pelican. Even in the flashback, he encourages Coral to hide inside the anemone until danger passes. Coral, however, is boisterous and giving. She is the more adventurous of the two. She's loving and willing to make sacrifices, which she ultimately does. Marlin and Coral have strong parallels to another couple on this list, Carl and Ellie. In both of these relationships, the man is introverted and the woman encourages him to see the world. Then the woman passes away and the man withdraws from society. Carl and Marlin spend years in isolation until a child brings them out of their shell and reignites their love for life. In one case, this is Nemo, in another, this is Russell. Carl and Ellie's romance is healthy, so by extension, Marlin and Coral's is too. Finding Nemo also presents the healthy nature of the relationship too. Coral is willing to sacrifice herself for her children and presumably would do the same for Marlin. Marlin also tries to fight the Barracuda to save Coral just as he travels to the sea to save Nemo. He is a devoted family man across the film. Marlin also spends years grieving for Coral and becomes very protective of Nemo. Protecting the people he loves makes Marlin a healthy partner even if he can be overbearing at times. Due to Marlin and Coral's connection and willingness to make sacrifices, their relationship is definitely healthy. Now for another romance that isn't touched on much, Lightning McQueen and Sally from the Cars series. These characters spend little time on screen together. Lightning's core relationships are with Tow Mater, Doc Hudson, and Cruz Ramirez. The Cars trilogy focuses mostly on those connections. But the scenes Lightning does share with Sally presents a connection between the two. In the first Cars film, Sally helps change Lightning's perspective. Lightning is a young racer looking to make a name for himself. His concerns are mostly glory and success. But when stranded in Radiator Springs, Lightning learns that life's beauty comes from the small stuff. Sally plays a key role in this. She offers him a place to stay in her motor hotel, she teaches him the history of Radiator Springs, and she races with him, which is the biggest contributor to his character's turnaround. Sally teaches Lightning that there's more to life than being the best. Life is about being yourself. This displays that Sally genuinely cares for Lightning and is willing to help him grow. Lightning seems to share this connection. After returning to racing, he puts Route 66 and Radiator Springs back on the map. This breathes new life into Sally's business and the town she deeply cares for. Unfortunately, Cars 2 and Cars 3 don't continue this storyline. The bar scene in Cars 2 is the only scene they are together in the whole film. They seem to get along fine here, but the scene focuses more on Mater than either of them. Cars 3 focuses on Lightning's relationship with Cruz rather than Sally, so it can be ruled out too. While Lightning and Sally aren't very well established, their romance seems healthy. It definitely plays a role in Lightning's emotional journey and likely does for Sally, even if we don't see it on screen. Now for the middle category. These relationships aren't healthy or toxic in their entirety, they all have healthy elements but are difficult at first or have underlying disagreements. First in this category is Violet and Tony. Violet isn't the protagonist in either of the films she appears in. As a result, her romance doesn't take center stage in either, but it's there. Violet is a typical teenager. She's insecure, isolated, and hides who she truly is. Concealing her superhuman abilities fits The Incredibles. Her ability to turn invisible and create force fields would endanger her if discovered. But Violet hides more than that, fading into the background of her social life. Across The Incredibles, she learns to be more comfortable being herself and being in the spotlight. At the end of The Incredibles, Violet has matured and Tony Rittinger immediately notices. Violet has been crushing on Tony across the first film, but the two don't interact directly until the final scene. When they do, he invites her to a movie and compliments her new attitude. Picking up on personal changes within Violet and then supporting them shows that Tony is a healthy companion for her. Unfortunately, in Incredibles 2, Tony's memory of Violet is erased.
You had me erased from Tony's mind!
He forgets agreeing to a date with her and Violet is heartbroken. Shenanigans ensue and Violet tries to reconnect with Tony. The sequel pays Violet less attention than Dash or Jack Jack. Violet's arc is a bit lost in the course of a film with many other characters and storylines. But overall, Violet and Tony's relationship is a pretty normal teenage crush. The Incredibles introduces us to Tony when he barely knows Violet exists. He notices her personal growth, then they are separated for comedic tension. It's not the most gorgeous romance Pixar has created, but amounts to a normal teenage crush. A similar relationship is between Linguini and Colette. Just like Violet, Linguini is not a Pixar lead. Ratatouille is Remy's story, so Linguini's love life is particularly sidelined. Linguini is characterized as insecure, goofy, and down on his luck. He supports Remy's journey and sees Remy has a unique talent, but he doesn't believe he has any special skills himself. He's insecure about his apartment when he brings Remy back there and is awkward around his colleagues. Colette, for comparison, is a talented chef with a fiery personality. She thinks Linguini is an idiot at first. When he's acting odd, she understandably judges him as babbling nonsense. She also doesn't hesitate to pull out the pepper spray when she thinks he's hitting on her. Despite their initial hiccups, Linguini and Colette turn out to be a strong couple. They bond, go on dates, and are shown riding a motorcycle together. They build a connection over time. Instead of feeling secondhand embarrassment for Linguini, the audience feels warm towards their love. However, Linguini and Colette's romance isn't touched on much even after they start connecting. Remy's story comes to a climax and the romance is left behind. All in all, the couple got off to an awkward start and then had some strong moments. But they never really reached the development that other couples did, so they land in the middle section of this list. Now we're talking about Cars 2. Tow Mater and Holly have some strong parallels to Linguini and Colette. Holly also assumes Mater is an idiot at first.
This cannot be him.
It
She's not as off as Colette is at first though. While Linguini is acting odd because he's keeping a secret, Mater is out of place in a spy thriller he doesn't understand. Mater spends Cars 2 accidentally involving himself further and further into spy antics without any real comprehension of why this is happening to him. In that regard, Holly is arguably right for assuming Mater's stupidity. Across Cars 2, Mater does evolve as a character. He learns that even though he isn't the smartest or flashiest car around, he is still beautiful. That message connects well to Mater's arc, but not so well to his romance. Holly spends most of the film thinking Mater is acting stupid as a cover. She fundamentally misunderstands who Mater is. When Mater says he doesn't fix his dents because his imperfections remind him of who he is, Holly is caught off guard.
I don't fix these. I want to remember these dents forever.
She doesn't understand this concept yet. She debates it and eventually agrees, but she doesn't completely get it. We never really see Holly understand Mater for who he is. Cars 2 ends with them parting ways, but there's no compelling indication that they share that heartfelt connection. They don't know each other as well as Carl and Ellie, they don't grasp at each other's needs like Luca and Julia, plus Holly is omitted from Cars 3 and their relationship is dropped. Mater and Holly get along, but their romance lacks the strong understanding of each other that a healthy romance needs. For that reason, they are in the middle section of this list. Third to last is Hector and Aunt Imelda. Hector and Aunt Imelda's relationship is a central point of Hector's actions in Coco. The main plot is about helping Miguel return to the living in exchange for Miguel preserving Hector's afterlife. Despite this, Hector and Aunt Imelda are kept separate for most of Coco. Only at the end is it revealed that the two are a couple. This twist works well within the film, but makes it hard to evaluate their romance. Hector and Aunt Imelda have very different ideals. Hector is a musician whose commitment to his dream cost him his life and his family. He left his family behind to pursue his music career. Then, upon deciding to return to his family, he was poisoned and his ideas were stolen. Ultimately, Hector was willing to sacrifice a lot for music. Aunt Imelda has different loyalties. She put family first and was heartbroken when Hector left her and her daughter to survive on their own. Music separated her from her loved one, so she banned music from the family, a feature that lasted for generations afterwards. Both of these characters have very grounded and understandable beliefs. Both uphold and pursue their ideologies, but by sacrificing their relationship with each other. They do reconcile at the end of Coco, with Hector's picture being put out on the ofrenda. Unfortunately, we never get to see their romance develop afterwards. Hector and Aunt Imelda's romance resembles that of Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl. Both have a disconnect between achieving dreams and supporting family. Both are separate across the film, then reconcile at the end. Where they differ is that Coco doesn't have a sequel. Incredibles 2 continues Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's journey, and we see how the relationship has evolved across the two films. Hector and Aunt Imelda aren't given that development, so they're placed in the middle category of this list. Second to last is Flick and Princess Ada. Flick and Princess Ada have a difficult relationship. Flick is a social outcast. He is a clever inventor, but his awkwardness and clumsiness divide him from the rest of the ant colony. Princess Ada is an ant colony royalty. She is well respected, charismatic, and very different from Flick. Like Colette and Holly, Princess Ada assumes Flick is an idiot at first. He has a knack for inventing, but how he conducts himself makes him come off as insecure and silly. Flick also plays a pivotal role in the story's conflict. A Bug's Life centers around Flick's journey to find noble warriors to protect the ant colony from Hopper's band of grasshoppers. The grasshoppers have been terrorizing the ant colony for years before the film starts, and the ants supply the grasshoppers food to appease them. The conflict escalates when Flick knocks over the ant colony's food supply, endangering his fellow ants. Princess Ada is quite dismissive of and embarrassed by Flick for doing this. She shuns him and sides with her colony. She views the conflict as largely Flick's fault and does her royal duty by protecting her people. As the film progresses, Flick saves the ant colony by creating a fake bird to scare away the grasshoppers. Only after Flick has saved the colony does Princess Ada change her mind. This indicates she was more interested in his hero status than his character. When he's a nobody, she shuns him. Only once he's a savior does she pay him any respect. It could be argued Princess Ada was just doing her royal duty, that she had to turn her back on Flick for putting the colony at risk. This may be true, but for the most part, her interest in Flick seems superficial. They don't have that acceptance of who each other is like Luca and Julia do. As a result, they're placed second to last. We're ending with the toxic category. Toxic relationships involve negative emotions like fear, sadness, and guilt. They also often involve deceit in order to appease a partner or act in ways a partner isn't accepting of. Only one Pixar romance can be ranked as toxic. That is Mike and Celia from Monsters, Inc. Mike and Celia have a difficult relationship. They're in conflict for most of the film and appear to be very different characters. Mike isn't the best in this relationship. He lies to his partner, first about needing to log the paperwork with Roz. This could have been quickly done himself or explained to Sully more clearly and out in the open. Instead, he hides his lack of preparedness. He then lies to Celia for the rest of the film about the discovery of Boo. Even when Celia is interrogated and put in a cone, Mike lies to his partner about what's truly going on. Celia also isn't at her best in this relationship. After Mike acts secretively, she holds Mike verbally hostage. She pressures him and has outbursts of anger rather than gently inquiring what Mike is so worked up about. Mike and Celia certainly have a lot of conflict in Monsters, Inc. Mike has changed a lot since Monsters University. His optimistic and ambitious outlook on life have been replaced with cynicism and frustration. A monster who once charged into the human world determined is now terrified of a human girl. This could be due to aging and becoming dissatisfied with his life since college. However, his draining dynamic with Celia may have played a role in this depreciation. Despite this, the two seem to love each other. When banished, Mike talks about missing her. He also tries to make her birthday the best with a fancy dinner reservation. Both use pet names and are quite affectionate at the beginning of the film.
Oh, schmoozy poo. Googly bear.
There is definitely some uncertainties as to the relationship's health. Is the relationship toxic, or did the stress of the energy crisis cause Mike and Celia to act out of character? There is a compelling argument that this relationship is toxic. Mike was lying to his partner before Boo entered the monster world. He was pressured by Celia beforehand too, but there is doubt cast on this romance's nature. Overall, it is still the least healthy Pixar romance, but calling it toxic is debatable. Do you agree with our list? Let us know in the comment section who your favorite Pixar couple is. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more Pixar content. But most importantly, stay wicked.